Hello, 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 and welcome to Unique Leaders Live. I'm Megan DiMartino, and it is my favorite day of the week. It is Friday, and not because it is the weekend, but because it's Unique Leaders Live. I am so excited to have my guest today, Dr. Iman, with me. I heard Dr. Iman's story on Clubhouse several months ago and asked if he would join me on Unique Leaders Live. My heart is to share with you people's compelling stories that will resonate with you, that you will see yourself in these stories. And, this started truly out of that place of sharing with you. They say that success leaves clues. Well, I don't like clues. I want the whole story for you because I want you to be able to see that you can understand that it's not a person being special. It is about their journey and that their compelling journey of never stopping and that evolution. So Dr. Iman will be with me and share his story. But before we do, I would love you to share this out. Share this out on all your social media platforms. Go to YouTube and subscribe to the Unique Leaders Live page. It will help others find us because people have said again and again, they're so appreciative of my guests and their stories. And then on Tuesday, it will be on all of the podcasting platforms. That way you can take a walk, you can work out, you can do anything in your house and listen to all of these stories. But you need to go to iTunes and subscribe because it really will help other people finding the Unique Leaders Live show and podcast. So without further ado, I would like you to meet Dr. Iman.
Hi.
Hello, hello. Welcome.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Hi.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So, Dr. Iman, as I shared in the intro, that I, met you, so to speak, on Clubhouse. And on Clubhouse, of course, it's an audio app, so you only hear the person. So it's great to see you and join with you with your story. So if you would, just go back to where you were born and a little about your beginning life as a child, and then what the evolution to where you are today.
Well, again, hi, hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here. It's a great honor. I was born in Iran. It's actually a popular, well-known country in Middle East.
Yes.
I believe that many of your audience probably know the country. Yes, I was born and raised in Iran back in 1984, and like many other Middle Eastern families, it's like pretty much like a regular, ordinary family, and I started my journey as a medical student at age 17, and over maybe last 20 years now,
Excuse me. So you were a medical student at 17, and where did you do that study? In Iran?
In Iran, yes. So,
okay.
Yeah, like since then I was just practicing, studying, working around health and wellness. Recently, I'm just trying to discover new horizons of well-being.
And what was your field of study in your medical practice?
So I graduated as a general surgeon, like almost limited to say 12 years after I entered medical school, and then I worked in a in a drug war zone. For 2 years, I volunteered as a trauma surgeon. Well, in that area, it's not so like subspecialty. So you just, as a surgeon, I took care of trauma patients, like general surgeries, sometimes gynecologies, like all aspect of surgery.
Hmm.
Yeah, for 2 years I served there in like in southern Iran. It's a like most one of the most unfortunate places. And then like along my journey, relocated to I've been relocated to Dubai to start a practice on plastic surgery, which at least that was the plan. It didn't happen that way.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And so when you were in the war zone, so to speak, what in southern Iran, what was the you used the term war? Who was the war with?
Oh, it's a drug war zone. So
Drug war zone.
yeah,
Okay, I see. And
yeah.
what does that mean? What does that really mean to people that are not familiar with the world that you're speaking about?
Well, hopefully, I hope that no one actually is familiar with that term.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So drug war zone. There are different places around the world. Drug war zones, like probably in Mexico or
I see.
anywhere that is drug involved. So there are cartels,
I
of
see.
course, governments, and it's a war. It's an
Mhm.
ongoing day by day, day to day war, which is not uh, probably known or recognized as war.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
when it's shooting and it's like two different, like many more
Wow.
different groups, it's a war. Yeah.
Wow. Like you said, people in the United States are familiar on some level with the cartel from Mexico, but we, like you just said, we're really do not understand the complexity and the ruthlessness of it. And it's, yes, wow. So when you left Iran and went to Dubai to become a plastic surgeon, so that's a whole different world.
Yeah.
Was that difficult? Just, I'm talking about to get out of Iran and move to Dubai. Was that difficult to get your papers and the like transferred to practice to do surgery in Dubai?
Well, not really. I mean, so I'm a poet as well. Let's
Hmm.
just start with that one.
Yes,
As an artist, and I have always been fascinated by the process of healing and not just medicine and, let's say, physical health. I always been
hmm,
working, thinking around. But uh, after 2 years in that area, I learned so many like different life lessons. But
hmm,
I, at certain point, I was disappointed, and I just decided to choose the other side, which is like materialistic side of it,
hmm,
like
hmm.
business side of
Yes.
the medicine. But it's not that was not a complication for me. I just that was easy to,
Hmm,
especially
hmm.
Dubai is well like not 1 hour flight and people just go back and
I,
forth. It's a little bit complicated how to start working as a like a, it's just not easy to start working. But yeah, I got
mhm.
certified. That was not.
But that is what, back to your being an artist and a poet, is what really drew me to you that day when I heard you on Clubhouse, because you identified that you were a surgeon. I don't want to jump too far ahead yet, but you were absolutely sharing your heart, and it was loud and clear what you were sharing with whomever was listening, and it resonated with me, and I immediately actually DM'd you on Instagram. I mean, I was sitting outside by a pool, I remember very clearly, and the swimming pool, and it was kind of cloudy outside, and I was just sitting there doing work, and just to be outside. And I had Clubhouse on the, kind of on the side there, and I was sort of listening, but then you came on, and you truly resonated with me. And that's how, like you said, you're an artist. I kind of look in my spirit that way, that creative, and that you really resonated. So, but very interesting point what you just said. So you said you went to the war zone to obviously help, correct? I mean, there was something about it that you wanted to help as a surgeon, but you were there 2 years and you became very discouraged and decided that you said to move to Dubai and work in a more of a business financial remuneration or wealth building versus just giving. Is that correct? Am I interpreting that correctly?
Absolutely, yes. This is
Mm-hmm.
exactly what's the case was discouragement or maybe disappointment or yeah, I was not
Mm-hmm.
fulfilled even though that was like a massive experience.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh, goodness gracious. Yes. An experience that you will draw from for the rest of your life on many levels. Yes. So then you moved to Dubai. And what year would this have been, Dr. Aman?
Excuse me, could you please repeat the question again?
What year did you move to? I'm trying to get a timeline in my brain. What year did you move to Dubai?
Well, so let's say that was 2020. I just did all my paperwork and all my certification and all the process was almost done.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with one of my colleagues to get certified and be prepared to start my own practice,
Mm-hmm.
which it never happened. So I came to Toronto. I had like about 2 months free time in between. I just came here to visit my family, and then this pandemic happened, and everything just stopped. And I just started a new kind of like lifestyle. Everything was just planned another way.
Yes, exactly. On some level, no, I don't want to say predestined, but a directive. So what you're saying is that you had a plan to go to Dubai and start a practice. You got your paperwork done, and then all of a sudden, this whole shift in the world happened, and you decided to come to Toronto, where your family is.
Yes,
Hmm.
that's exactly what's happening.
Gotcha. Okay. So 2020. So you've been there 2 years, and somewhere along the line of that, you discovered Clubhouse, and so you some participate in Clubhouse. But what are you doing today? I mean, I don't mean today physically, but in general. And what are your plans for the future? And then share a little bit about your heart, of where you see the world going.
Uh, Let me start with this fact that so why did I got discouraged in many different levels
Hmm.
during my practice. I have so when it's like in a war zone or that kind of area, when there's a conflict, there is like a shooting. There's always like mass casualty,
Hmm.
many surgeries and trauma, and yeah. So that was the case, like a routine. One day I had this maybe 15 years old kid on my table, internal bleeding, massive, uh, pretty ugly.
Hmm.
Everyone was like kind of sure that the boy is gone.
Hmm.
Uh, he was lucky. He was a fighter. I was lucky, and he survived. I must be proud and just happy about what I've done.
Hmm.
I step out of this theater to talk to the family to deliver the good news.
Hmm.
The family was just there to receive the body. They were so disappointed, and everyone was just I assumed that they were in shock. But when I actually delivered the good news that your kid is going to be okay, his father, like in a numb kind of state, he asked me that he didn't die, and I was like a little bit surprised. But following his mom, which is not so common in that area for women to speak, she whispered kind of,
Mm-hmm.
That next time for sure.
Oh my.
Yeah, and that whisper is probably the loudest voice in my head ever since. I, like in the fraction of a second, I just, from like this proud surgeon who saved a kid, just turned to someone who actually did nothing, because who said that next time I will be there, or my
Mm-hmm.
patient is going to be that lucky, or what is the point of just suturing
Right.
up this
Yes.
wounds. And uh, so that was the one of the many
Sure.
discouragements, or like I saw that there's something wrong, there's something not working here.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
maybe not far after this one, maybe less, yeah, a couple of days later, I received a letter from the board of the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
um, so they usually like give me like notice, but this one was a little bit different. They said, according to medical ethics of, like the rules of ethics, it's not recommended to get involved emotionally with your patients.
Mm.
And I was thinking about the why should they send me this kind of letter, and then I realized, in another word, they are asking me not to hold my patient's hand when they see they're suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the, like, probably the, you know the that letter
Mm-hmm.
broke the camel's back, and I said, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know what,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was so, but I choose, probably out of anger and maybe frustration. So I just gave up of the healing part of medicine,
Mm-hmm.
and I decided just to be focused on the business side. So, okay, I'm gonna be like, I can easily just start my practice in Dubai, and I just turned to other side of the business, in my practice.
Right.
But
Yes.
when everything, so we talked about the pandemic when it happened, and I was like here in Toronto, and everything was just so suddenly. It was a big change for everyone. I believe that you definitely remember that day that they announced the pandemic. Like, before, there was just talking about it, but when they announced
Mm-hmm.
the pandemic, it was like a huge pause, and then, like these Hollywood movies, that everything just stopped with probably like a sound effect. That was exactly what happened to me too, and it gave me the opportunity, time to start hearing it, my inner voice, something
Mm-hmm.
inside that's telling me that, yes, so maybe you're disappointed with that part, but so I cannot practice in Canada. I'm stuck here. I have my uh, contract in Dubai got cancelled. Everything just stopped, and I don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I start my, like, about a year. I was just struggling. So at the beginning, I didn't even believe it. I said, yes, this will be it. It will be okay next month, like after maybe a couple of months. That is
Right.
not going to be okay. So then I started my social media presence, which, so I'm not speaking the language. I don't know the society. I don't know these people. I don't know what to say. I'm a poet, but like, who is going to listen to a poet here?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just combine my poetry with like a performance and music and editing, and like, it's all new. I've never made a video before. But yeah, so over the last maybe 9 months,
Mm-hmm.
so I started in January 2021. It's growing, like, now it's like 500,000 people around all social media platforms that are following my content. And that, maybe after, maybe not long, maybe after a couple of months, I realized that maybe you can not practice. There are places that your scalpel cannot reach, but they cannot prevent you from helping people to heal.
Exactly.
And that is the way that I just, this is a whole new world to me. And I turn to some maybe holistic approach of medicine.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Now, your sister, I believe you said, lives in Toronto. Is other family members there?
Oh no, my sister lives in Toronto. I have family in US.
Oh, family in U.S.
And
Okay.
like all
Okay.
around. Yep. So
Okay. So 110%. I mean, God works, I truly believe fervently that we can't limit God, and God is in everyone and everything, and even in that war zone. But again, man is evil, basically. And but so it's that fight between good and evil, and that you are an enlightened soul and are going to continue on and do profound things, and God has a plan. And that's what I heard loud and clear sitting by that swimming pool on a cloudy afternoon when you were sharing. And how you monetize that, I don't know, but you obviously will. But and I have a question about your license. So can you not apply for a license in Canada, or a medical license to practice?
well, so um, that's an interesting question. Actually, it's not about me. My story is a little bit different. We will get to my story, but I just wanted to acknowledge this fact that when doctors from other countries come to North America, they actually started really tough period of time.
I see.
They cannot practice. These guys, like, they are practicing medicine as long as my age, some of them, and they
Hmm.
they just came here to, hoping to start a new life. Most of the time, like majority of them, just caring about their children, not themselves. But anyway, so
Hmm. Hmm.
but many of them end up working in Walmart or any other places just to be able to take care of themselves.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, my so and there's like exams which are complicated, but in my case, as I said, the first year for me was just discovering to learn how things are working here.
Yes.
I realized that in order to be able to practice in Canada, I need to go through two exams, which is like a written and like a performing like kind of OSCE exam.
Hmm.
Uh, this exam usually takes like years, like between 3 to 5 years to
Oh,
get ready and pass them. Like I passed both exams in 1 year in like my first year here. And now I got over the exams and I'm ready to get my license in Canada.
okay.
But yeah, so the fact is that I did it. Maybe at the beginning, I just wanted to do this because it was just my only way.
Hmm.
But then the more I was just discovering the other aspects,
Yes.
I just decided to continue with that option just to
Hmm.
make sure that I'm not making any decision out of devastation. I have all
Hmm.
my options ready,
Hmm.
and if I'm
Hmm.
going to do anything with that, that is like it's not out of just
Hmm.
uh, limitation or frustration. I can practice, but if I'm not, I'm just that's another reason.
So, do you, I don't often ask these questions, but your story is so compelling. Where do you, because I'm asking this as well for our viewers. Um, Many people have not, most all people have not gone through what you've gone through that are watching this or listening to this. I say most because this is an international platform, um, but they haven't. And what I mean by that is you're from Iran, you are a physician, you worked in this war zone, you went to Dubai to start a new life, you came to Toronto, in the beginning of the pandemic, on and on. Many people, though, are facing similar crossroads, similar, where the life that they thought they were going to live has either they lost their job, the job has changed so drastically that it doesn't look like, it doesn't feed them. I don't mean feed financially, it doesn't feed their spirit the same way. So they're at a crossroads. I personally think it was wise for you to get your credentials. That way, like you said, you have options. But what you're saying really is that spiritually and emotionally, you are at a crossroads. Would you agree with that?
Uh, I think if we are honest to ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
there's no crossroad. We know what we want. If you don't do this, it's maybe because of like many other reasons. But this like inner voice that I mentioned, this
Mm-hmm.
pandemic, it was a blessing to me, which was not a blessing for many, but for me, it was like the pause that I needed to
Mm-hmm.
just get out of this idea of life. So just doing what people expect you to do, and eventually you get to the point that you go back and see it. That was not what I wanted. That was not
Mm-hmm.
what I planned. That was not what I'm passionate about. And yeah, so who said that life is going to be the way that people say, and this is the way that like
That's right.
many people just start, like you go to school, get a degree, work, die. I mean, it's not the way that it
Exactly.
should be. Uh,
Exactly.
yeah, the crossroad is. I don't think it's like for me itself. Or I think the right thing is that there's no even option B. There's just
It's the
this is what it
journey.
is.
It's
Yeah,
the
this is what
journey.
it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, you just said it. I mean, the gift was the pause, and you came and you had that pause. And I do think that a lot of people do understand that that pause was beneficial in their lives. But that the reason I chose the word crossroads is that I, speak to a lot of people, as you do, and I listen, let's say, also on Clubhouse and different dynamics like that. And people are talking about reinventing themselves and creating new spaces and so forth. And what I am in agreement with you 100%. That I look at my life and it's really just an evolution. I just listen, pray, listen, and move, and it just is that evolution. And those pauses are gifts. They are. They truly are gifts.
Yeah. So I understand that people, when you involve with this life, and of course there's many different responsibilities. You need to take care of yourself, your family, or
Hmm.
you cannot just pivot and found, you know what, I just find my passion, I'm going to quit.
Yes.
uh, but it's a blessing to know what is your passion. And if you just don't treat it as a side hustle, it's your main purpose, it's your gift, it's something inside that you've been meant to do this, and the rest is that the rest of the life can be your side hustle. It's something.
Yes, very, very. It is. I say that all the time. That's part of my platform. Is that to find your purpose? It's revealed to you, really, your purpose and your passion. It's a gift to know that. So we'll get there in a minute because I have a question about that I ask every guest. So, have you ever been to the United States?
No.
You have not. And prior to coming to Canada, had you ever been to Canada?
Oh yes. So
Okay,
I am a Canadian resident, like officially the
I see.
documented and stuff since 2018. Uh, but I never actually had a plan to move. I just kind of like to visit, like maybe short, kind of like
Hmm.
tourist
Hmm.
life.
So pretty soon you'll be able to come to the United States and come for a visit at least,
Yeah, of course.
and it'll be great. And so, with your holistic integrative medicine, let's just call it that, do you see any specific direction in that, or you're just still flowing? I mean, have you started working on any level with that, or are you still exploring that?
Well, I am not expert in, like, this is something about people, Western medicine. Uh, there are, let's say, negative aspects about Western medicine, of course. I believe
Mhm.
that Western medicine, if we see the whole healing process or wellness as a family, Western medicine is the youngest child. So we cannot just ignore it and say, "No, we don't like you anymore." It's just young, it's going to make a lot of mistakes and come back and go back and forth.
That's very generous of you. Keep going.
Thank you. But the fact is that so it's been around for a couple of hundred years. Other
Hmm.
modalities, other approaches, they've been there for thousands of years. So, but something good about Western medicine or this evidence-based bio let's say, uh, bu- uh, this the let's say the process of learning in Western medicine, you cannot be sure about anything. That's the first thing. So at a certain level, you realize that we genuinely do not know anything. There are many things that we don't know. So we have like this glass of water, and this is the ocean out there. And this
Right.
is at this point, you know that, so you can be just an expert in surgery, in this certain specific kind of surgery. And like when you just compare your knowledge with the knowledge out there, you know that you need to humble yourself.
Mm, yes.
And that is something that I'm applying to many others. So I might know different stuff in different aspect of medicine, health, like anything, but I'm not an expert.
Yeah.
What is my let's say my passion, or what I can do is connect people who are expert together,
I
just
see.
to moderate their
Ah.
between Western, Eastern wisdom,
Oh,
Western medicine,
yes.
and try to find something in a middle ground too. Because at the end of the day, the purpose is just one thing. It's just all about healing and make not
Yes.
just healing, because healing bring you back to the even level. So this is not the purpose of life to be even.
Yes.
You need to be well. You just
Yes.
like improve, or at least you give back the world better than you receive. So uh, I'm just working on that part.
It's
And
great.
yeah, it's not that I can now, like with this all this like social media presence, I
Hmm.
had many options and like offers. So let's do this, let's start coaching business, let's start this clinic. This is not, I will be just again
Hmm.
trapped in the idea that I just escaped. This is not
Ah,
what I want.
yes. Yes. Love it. Love it. Love it. I'm a connector of sorts too. That's essentially why I do this. And but in my wellness portion of my spa, Dr. Iman, in 2018, so prior to 2018, we did, of course, injectables and other, laser work and the like. But it was also a luxury day spa. And so I combined the two together. In wellness, we had an infrared sauna, European style steam room. And so I was connecting it all. So in 2018, I injured my knee, my left knee, for the last time. And what I mean by that is I had injured it as a kid playing sports. And then over my adult life, skiing and playing tennis and that movement. And of course, getting older, osteoarthritis set in. So I knew how to manage it with infrared light directly onto it, sitting in my infrared sauna. If it really got swollen, I'd put a compression little knee brace on it. But in the summer of 18, I had a meniscus tear and I couldn't walk. And I was in pain, but I couldn't walk very well at all. Finally, had an imaging done at an imaging clinic, and the guy goes, "Oh, guess you need a knee replacement." But I had already done research on that because I'm a researcher of sorts, because I manufacture and develop skincare products. And so I knew that the statistics of a knee replacement wasn't great. It was 60-40. So 40% doesn't work. Well, that was too high to me. And I didn't want surgery. I didn't want the pre op, post op, the downtime, all of that. And so I knew of stem cell regenerative therapy. So I decided to research that and had 1 cc in my left knee. And 3 years later, I still have a new knee. But I had such a remarkable response to it that people would say, "What did you do?" Because I was very visible and people knew me. And so I did research again and saw that I could bring it to my clinic and started doing regenerative stem cell therapy. And so, what really was wonderful about it, for not only for my own personal outcome, but also seeing how it really helped people, I recognized very clearly that the body wants to heal itself, like you're saying. And you're very kind in speaking about Western medicine, because the word practicing medicine, well, that's what they're doing, because there are no answers. So if this doesn't work, let's try that. If this doesn't work, let's try that. But would you agree that the body truly does want to heal itself?
Absolutely. And
Mhm.
this is, I mean, it's not my uh, perspective. I cannot claim it that this is my. So even Western
Mhm.
medicine experts in the highest level now they are shifting from. Uh, so there are like different approaches. One one's like when, uh, let's say, it's the idea started with like Descartes, which was like there is a reason, you find the reason, you there must be just like the process, you find the reason or the cause, you treat it, the outcome will be solved, resolved.
Mhm.
At the beginning in medicine, that was like it worked. It just turned from a lot of like not let's say scientific facts to so the Western medicine started with facts and science. So this is the
Yes.
reason, that's the bacteria, it causes disease, and it's treatment. Awesome. So
Yes.
we're dealing with like a lot of like ideas and like
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
just it's a science now. But
Mhm.
over like maybe last 200 like 150 years, the human part of the story we've been fading over
Yes.
and over. And like
Yes.
at certain point, you don't even care who is that person that having
Yes.
this bacteria. The bacteria, the antibiotics, so it's resolved.
Yes.
But recently they realized so that part is important. When you talk about the disease, you talk about the patient, not the
Mhm.
disease.
Mhm.
If someone
Yes.
has like a infection, how it impacted their life, what is their expectation? It's not about I know you don't know, you just listen to me. So I know you don't know, let me tell you. Let me
Yes.
just make a decision together. But about the healing, so as I said, like there are now two different approaches. The old one is like to treat, and the new one is help to heal. It's
Mhm.
this is the way that so
Yes.
we
To help.
are just helpers. We're not
Yes.
treaters. We help the body to heal itself.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
as you said, it's a practice. There's nothing, and this is that we need to know as we all like doctors and patients. And it's sad that we see that there's a huge gap between
Yes.
physicians and patients recently. They don't
Yes.
trust them. And it's not, they are not enemies, but the approach over the last 100 years was like
Yes.
this way. But
Yes.
I think the key point here is in medicine, we have rules, we have just basics that which is like to cure sometimes,
Mhm.
care always, but first do not harm.
Mhm.
That if
Yes.
you just follow
Yes.
this path, it's that would rebuild the trust.
Yeah. Yes. And the mind body connection is so powerful. And that's like you said, that the physicians, and it's not everyone, but the physician in general just doesn't even look at the patient. It's about the statistics, the information on the chart. And they go from the chart, not the human being. And but I do think, and I'd love to have your thoughts on this. I do think that this total mess of what's going on right now with the medical dynamic. And I'm not going to go into specifics, but I think this total mess is really bringing light to the average human being that they cannot just depend on that doctor doing the prescription and here do this. They have to take some responsibility or all responsibility for their health. What do you?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm.
So as I said, so it's not. So it's actually this new approach take a lot of responsibilities off the physicians. They are not gods. They are just human beings with maybe a couple of years more studying
Mhm.
and a couple of like maybe years of experience.
Mhm.
But you cannot expect them to know everything, and it's actually make them like depressed and like a lot of like burnouts and pressures. It's because like people believe that, oh, so you're a doctor, you need to know, you have to know. I don't know. I mean, people ask
Exactly.
question about COVID and then they be hostile toward doctors. So how you don't know? Like, so this is new.
Right.
Like this is it, and we don't. We are just following protocols, and that is how we learned how to do it.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
uh, like maintenance is is like definitely more important than how to
Yes.
heal
Yes.
or how to treat. So it's inevitable that we will be we will get involved in different kind of like physical, mental trauma, like disease and everything. But if you take care of yourself, that is the best treatment. Like
Amen.
lifestyle now is kind of like a medicine.
Amen. Amen. Well, we're winding down in our time, and I so blessed to have met you. And there's so many things that I would love to share with you. And so we'll do that offline, and thoughts and ideas, because that is what I'm doing with my work currently, like you, to put programs together to help people begin to really think. Because as Napoleon Hill said, think and grow rich. Well, the greatest wealth we have is our health, and we have to think it's a mindset, and we have to take responsibility. So it is such a blessing to have met you. I really feel that way. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was my absolute pleasure.
But before we finish, I'm going to ask you the same question, Dr. Iman, that I ask everyone. And you've touched on this, but there's a book called 3 Feet from Gold that was written by Sharon Lechter. I don't know if you've read anything from Sharon Lechter, but she's involved with the Napoleon Hill Foundation. She also, though, was the co-author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's a formidable gal in her very own right. But she and Greg Reed wrote a book called 3 Feet from Gold. And not to share the whole story, but it started out with this guy during the gold rush days and the turn of the century here in the United States. And he was from the East Coast. He had gold fever, as they called it. He went west, bought a piece of property, and started chiseling away, finding and searching out for his gold. And so he got very discouraged, and he'd go into town and get his supplies, and he was discouraged, and he finally gave up, and he sold his property to a person locally. And that person, in 3 feet, struck gold. So Sharon, in this story, created what she calls her success formula. And it is your passion plus talent times association times action plus faith equals success. Now, I'm not going to ask you all of those, but what I do ask everyone is, what is your passion and what is your talent?
What is my passion and what
What
is my talent?
talent? Mm-hmm.
My passion is, I just don't want to, let's say, my dream, my passion, my expectation is to live my life the fullest. I just don't want to leave anything just in potential. I just
Mm-hmm.
want to bring him to action.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
And my talent is just maybe the just being me. That's
I love
that's
that. I
that's the
love that.
biggest talent. Yeah.
Wow. I love that. No one has ever said that. I love that. That is the bottom line, is it not? Being you. Wow. And being me. That's wonderful. Wow. Well, thank you so much again for joining me today on Unique Leaders Live. I truly, truly appreciate it. And I'm just going to say goodbye to our guests. And if you just hang out in the green room for a minute, and I'll be right back.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
Thank you.
having me. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed our time with Dr. Iman as much as I did. And as I asked earlier, please do share this out. It is such a compelling story, full of not only his journey, but his heart and wisdom that will give you some food for thought, as they say. So please do share that out. And then on Tuesday, it will be on all the podcasting platforms, so you'll be able to enjoy it, and is right now on YouTube. So do please go there. And my story, which is kind of hand in glove with Dr. Iman, what he was sharing, is called Hope and Possibilities, Just Over the Horizon. It's never too early, never too late to create the life of your dreams. So it is at no charge, ebook on my website, com. Also, you can find it on Amazon. It went to number 1 in 4 categories in 2020, but it is there for you. And recently, we put our audiobook up on Instagram, where you can also go and put in the word hope, and you can also download the ebook, but also get the audiobook. And it soon will be on our website as well. So just finished. So it's, really a wonderful, it is my story, yes, but it also is a snapshot of New York and my journey, as a New York girl back in the 50s and on, with my dreams, goals, and aspirations, and never stopping and just being me, as Dr. Iman just shared. So that is my gift to you. Please go and enjoy it. And soon, my programs called Propel will be available as well. And I'll share more of that as the weeks come on. But that is coming very, very soon. But it's a business and life activation program to start, scale, and sustain the business and life of your dreams. So with that, I say thank you so much for joining me today on Unique Leaders. And next Friday, we will all be back with another wonderful guest. Thank you and be blessed.